Hello everyone, welcome back to Miles Discoveries. My name is Steve, and if this is your first time here, you are very welcome. On this channel, I take you along as I discover new places, experience different cultures, meet new people, and most importantly, share the real experience behind every journey. And today, we are going on a rather special journey. I traveled all the way from Kisii, Kenya to KIGALI Rwanda by road. Yeah, no flights today, just me, a bus, a long road ahead, 3 countries and 2 borders between where I started and where I was going. So in this video, I want to take you along for the entire experience. From leaving Kisii in Western Kenya, traveling through Uganda, crossing international borders, seeing the changing landscapes along the way, and finally arriving in the beautiful city of Kigali. So you sit back, you relax, and let's begin this journey together. This is Miles Discoveries, and if you are new here, you remember to subscribe, you like, and you can leave a comment down below. My journey actually required a bit of planning because the bus I had booked to take me to Rwanda was not departing from Kisii. I had booked my main bus, that is the Trinity bus from Nairobi. The bus was scheduled to leave Nairobi around midday, and based on its route, it was expected to pass through Kisumu at around 7 p.m. where I could board and continue with the journey towards Rwanda. So now, I had one small challenge. I needed to get myself from Kisii to Kisumu in time to catch my Trinity bus. And for that first leg of the journey, I chose Transline Shuttle.
Take care, let us pray. Asante pa Mungu, tunakushukuru wewe ni baba wetu kwa kila jambo. Naamini ndugu hao wana safari ndefu, waendelee sisi njiani, mapepo yaondoke. Fungua njia, waende salama. Wewe driver, ufungue maji atsame mbele, wahudumie vyema. Vizuizi uondoe. Hivyo saizi na wajiria ndugu hao mkononi mwako, wahudumie vyema, wafike salama kupitia jina la Yesu Kristo aliye mkombozi wetu.
It was around 3 p.m. when I left Kisii. The plan was quite straightforward. Kisii to Kisumu is roughly a 2 to 3 hour journey, depending on the road conditions and traffic. Getting to Kisumu at 6 p.m. that would give me roughly 1 hour to spare before the main bus arrived at around 7 p.m. At least that was the plan. And as any experienced traveler will tell you, plans are plans until you actually hit the road. As the shuttle pulled out of Kisii, it finally hit me that it wasn't just another trip to Kisumu. This was the beginning of a much longer journey. Kisii was just the starting point. Kisumu was the first connection. From Kisumu I would board a Trinity bus, continue through Uganda before eventually making my way into Rwanda. And my final destination, Kigali. So as we traveled toward Kisumu, I was keeping an eye on time. The scenery outside the window kept changing, but at the back of my mind was one thing: will I make it to Kisumu on time? Despite the pressure on time, I also wanted to enjoy the journey. This is one of the reasons I prefer traveling by road. You get to watch the country change right in front of you. You pass through different communities, You see people going about their daily lives. You see businesses along the highway, farms, villages, or even towns. And slowly, kilometer by kilometer, we were moving closer to our destination, Kisumu. Eventually, we made our way to Kisumu, and for me, this was an important milestone. It was about 6 p.m. So I had successfully completed the first leg of the journey, Kisii to Kisumu, tick, done. As I waited for my bus, I grabbed some light food. And the bus actually delayed for about 1 hour. So the bus arrived in Kisumu at around 8 p.m. At this point, the excitement started kicking in. We did not waste much time here. And at about 8:20 p.m., we were off to Rwanda. Now I can say I was officially beginning my journey from Kenya to Rwanda by road. And I had no idea exactly what the next several hours could bring. But one thing was certain, Kigali was waiting.
In the darkness, I could feel her thinking about somebody else. Some old secret she keeps hidden high up on the shelf. It's all covered in dust, holding up some old books supposed to teach about heaven and hell. In the darkness, I could feel her thinking about somebody else. I hear country music playing in the background. Some old sweet melody about the life we lead, the love that we never found. I said I love you, she said honey now, yeah, just keep doing what comes natural in the heat of the night. And if we're lucky.
And then came one of the most important points of our journey, that is the Busia border. At this point, we had traveled across Kenya, and now we are about to leave the country and enter Uganda. Here we presented our travel documents, we went through the immigration process and got our Kenyan exit stamps. Then we proceeded to the Ugandan side where we had to be cleared. And so if you're planning to make this journey yourself, one of the important things you have with you is your passport and your yellow fever vaccination certificate. That is a must. For the Kenyan travelers, there are also alternative travel documents that may be accepted, such as your national ID or a temporary passport. That is in case you don't have the passport. And now we're in a new country, the new roads, maybe new sceneries. And this is another chapter of the journey that is yet to begin now. Ugandan roads will take much of our time. We're expecting to take 4 hours from Busia to Kampala and about 7 hours from Kampala to the next border, which is Katuna. So 7 plus 4, that's about 11 hours. See you in the next border, that is Katuna. Enjoy the views.
There was nothing much left as the sun started opening its eyes. She rolled over, said, "You want some coffee?" Said, "Yeah, babe, I take a little sugar in mine." She got up, put on a morning dress, but she forgot to put back on her disguise. There was nothing much left as the sun started opening its eyes, except that country music Brazil.
After traveling through Uganda, we eventually arrived at Katuna border post. This is the main crossing between Uganda and Rwanda on our route. It's an exciting moment because from here we're entering our final country, Rwanda. Even before completing the immigration process, the landscapes here were giving us a little preview of what we were waiting on the other side of Rwanda. Hills everywhere. And immediately, you are reminded why Rwanda is famously known as the land of 1,000 hills. At the border, the process was quite straightforward. We presented our passports together with the proof of accommodation in Rwanda and went through the necessary immigration checks. Just like Busia, the process was surprisingly quick. Within about 1 hour, we had completed everything and we were officially in Rwanda now. Now here something immediately felt different. The roads were so smooth, the surroundings were beautifully hilly, and There was another interesting change that you might notice if you're traveling by road from Kenya to Uganda. Rwanda drives on the right hand side of the road. That is different from both Kenya and Uganda, where vehicles keep the left. We are now only about 1.5 hours away from our destination. After all the hours on the road through Kenya and Uganda, Kigali was finally within our reach. The hills continued to welcome us as we drove deeper into Rwanda, and with every kilometer, the excitement grew. The long journey was almost over. We had crossed the borders, we had traveled through 3 countries, and now there was only one thing left to do, that is getting to Kigali. Rwanda had welcomed us with the hills, smooth roads, and a completely different driving experience. And after about 1.5 hours, Kigali will be next. And then finally, we are in Kigali. After all those hours on the road, that is about 26 hours, we were finally approaching our destination. And one thing immediately stands out about Kigali is its landscapes. This city is built across hills and valleys, giving it a very distinctive appearance. As the bus moves through the city, I keep looking outside the window. After spending so many hours traveling through the rural areas and smaller towns, now we are welcomed by a capital city. Buildings, businesses, people, traffic, and hills in almost every direction. This was the moment when the long journey started to feel worth it. I had traveled all the way from Kisii, Kenya by road, and arriving at our destination after a long journey gives you a feeling that is difficult to explain. You're tired, your body wants a rest, but the mind is excited because you know that the journey you have just completed is only the beginning. I wasn't in Kigali just to arrive and leave. There's so much to do. There was so much waiting for me. There are new places to visit, new experiences, new people, and new stories to share with you here on Miles Discoveries. So after traveling from Kisii to Kigali by road, will you recommend the journey? Absolutely. Especially if you enjoy seeing places rather than simply reaching them. Flying could be faster, but traveling by road gives you something a flight cannot give you. You see the distance, you experience the transitions, you cross the borders, you see ordinary life happening outside your window, and you become part of the journey. So of course, it isn't always easy. It is a long journey. You spend many hours sitting, you get tired, you may be delayed, and border crossing can take time at times. But if you're patient and you enjoy adventure, the experience can be incredibly rewarding. Because now that I'm in Rwanda, there are many more places waiting to be discovered. So if you want to see what happens next, make sure you stay with me. We are going to explore Rwanda together, and trust me, there's a lot more coming. More importantly, there's a concert that is on Sunday. That is the Ambassadors of Christ celebrating their 30 years in service, and I'll be there with them. If you enjoyed coming along on this journey, please like the video. You remember to subscribe to Miles Discoveries and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss the next adventure. And I would also love to hear from you. So you can leave a comment if you have traveled to Rwanda by road. You can share your experience down there in the comment section. And if you haven't, would you choose the road or could you fly? Let me know down there in the comment section. Once again, my name is Steve. This is Miles Discoveries. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next adventure, you keep discovering. See you in the next video. Until then, I leave you with experience and the views.
Sasa uko sawa? Niko sawa pia, natembea tu. Natembea tu. Sasa
Beep beep.